Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's broadcast on Ghost Story. We present Body Snatcher, a tale by Amy Nguyen. Cassandra Moore unzipped her suitcase and began placing toiletries inside. Her 11-year-old daughter, Lily, scampered up. "Mom, let me help." Cassandra smoothed Lily's hair. "I can manage. Go watch your cartoon. But if I help, we'll finish faster and get to Grandpa sooner." The sincerity melted her. "All right, pack your own clothes, honey." Cassandra had no wish to return to her hometown. It held too many sour memories. But that afternoon her mother, Evelyn, had phoned in tears. Cassandra's father was in critical condition after a fall. Cassandra signed Lily out of school for a few days. Lily was thoughtful beyond her years, helpful at home, top of her class, loved by neighbors. Her father, Michael, doted on her, playing and tutoring whenever work allowed. Health issues meant Cassandra could not bear a second child. She worried Lily might one day shoulder every burden alone. When Michael heard the news, he rushed home, drove them to the station, and promised to follow later. An urgent project tied him down. Cassandra asked him to stop at Chen's herbal shop for ginseng broth to strengthen her father. The bus ride from the city to Willow Creek, Louisiana, took 5 hours. At 10 p.m., grapefruit blossoms perfumed her parents' yard, scents of a childhood spent dipping tangy fruit in salt chili. Inside, Evelyn was folding dumpling skins. "Grandma, we're back," Lily said politely. "Long trip, sweetheart. Tired? I slept on the bus. I'm fine." Cassandra asked, "How's Dad? Resting?" "The doctor said it's only a small crack in his leg, no need to stay in the hospital." Cassandra blinked. Hours earlier her mother had sounded frantic. "If I'd known that, Lily wouldn't have to miss 3 days of school." Evelyn's brow darkened. "Girls study too much anyway. They marry. What good is schooling?" Those words, echoes of Cassandra's childhood, ignited her anger. Her parents had believed one son was worth 10 daughters. After her brother Aaron's birth, every new shirt, every festival treat went to him. Money was tight. They wanted Cassandra to quit school, but she washed dishes at Miss Nom's noodle shop to pay her tuition. Aaron, once adorable, grew entitled. He even slapped her for refusing to do his homework. Cassandra put herself through college on scholarship, met Michael, married, and had Lily. She now ran a thriving online business. "Times changed, Mom," she said. "My daughter will study as far as she wants, even overseas." Evelyn returned to her dumplings. Cassandra led Lily to her father's room. He slept beneath a light blanket. They'd visit in the morning. Since her own cubby had been demolished for Aaron's son, Cassandra planned to stay at Uncle Ray's motel. But Evelyn called after them. "No need to waste money. I cleaned Cooper's room for you." Too tired to argue, Cassandra carried the suitcase inside. On their way to wash up, they passed Aaron's room. Lauren's soft lullaby floated through the door. Cassandra respected her gentle sister-in-law. "Mom, it's cold," Lily whispered. A draft seeped from the crack beneath Aaron's door, though the June night was mild. Cassandra shivered, then led Lily back to their room to unpack in the dim hallway light. A thin, air-conditioned draft seeped from the crack beneath Aaron's bedroom door, although the night was far from hot. Cassandra shrugged, knowing her brother loved his creature comforts. She helped Lily change into pajamas, tucked the girl under the quilt, and began reading a fairy tale. Moments later Lily sniffed the air. "It smells so good, Mom. I'm a little hungry. Hold on, honey. I'll be right back." Cassandra found her mother in the kitchen, dropping pork-filled dumplings into simmering broth. "Those smell wonderful," she said. "Lily's awake. Could she have one bowl?" "No," Evelyn answered without looking up. "Heat some rice or make instant noodles. These are for your father and Aaron." Cassandra stared at the mound of dumplings cooling on a tray. "You made plenty." I said no. Evelyn's tone snapped shut like a trap. Biting back anger, Cassandra returned upstairs. She offered Lily a cupcake from her travel bag. The child shook her head and asked for the rest of the story instead. When the tale ended, Lily kissed her mother's cheek and drifted off. Cassandra phoned Michael to let him know they had arrived safely, then surrendered to exhaustion. Sometime after midnight, a rough yank on her ankle jolted her awake. A frail, stooped woman stood at the foot of the bed, hair as white as candle ash, spine bent with age. Cassandra squinted as that face from a single photograph on the mantel. "You've burned incense for me all these years and still don't recognize your own grandmother." The voice was thin but accusing. "Listen to me. You must run." Before the old woman finished, a broad-shouldered man, her grandfather, wrenched her back by the collar. "Martha, stop meddling," he barked. "Come with me." He dragged the struggling figure into the hall. Cassandra lurched after them, stumbled, and crashed onto the hardwood, and woke on her mattress in darkness. Moonlight filtered through the curtain. No sign of either apparition. Shaking, she switched on the lamp, then finally fell into a dreamless sleep. Knuckles battered her door at 4:30 a.m. "Get up." Evelyn called. "Lauren and I have breakfast to make. A married woman shouldn't lie abed." Cassandra replied through the wood. "Lily and I aren't eating yet, Mom," and refused to open the door. She dozed until 7, then dressed her daughter and guided her to the bathroom. In the kitchen trash lay a heap of untouched dumplings, enough for half the town. Cassandra's chest tightened. On the porch, Evelyn sipped tea. "Nothing left to eat," she said coolly. "That's fine," Cassandra answered. "Lily and I will go to Miss Non's." Lauren appeared, cheerful as ever, and ruffled Lily's hair. Cassandra thanked her, but headed down the lane, Lily's hand in hers. Behind them, Evelyn watched without a word. Miss Non's noodle house was already bustling. The owner greeted them with a laugh. "Haven't seen you in a year, Cassandra. Sit 2 bowls of noodle soup and iced basil seed tea coming up." A shy server no more than 14. Though Miss Non insisted she was 17, carried their meal to the table. Miss Non joined them, wiping her hands on her apron. "Your girl's 11. Smart and polite it shows." Cassandra smiled, but her thoughts were elsewhere. She remembered the full trash can, the locked-tight pantry, and her grandmother's warning. Something in Willow Creek still weighed daughters and granddaughters on an old, rusted scale, and whatever it was had started to stir. Cassandra lingered over her tea, watching the scrawny teen who cleared tables for Miss Non, sharp elbows under a shirt to sizes too big. Non claimed the girl was 17. She looked barely 14. Cassandra's jaw tightened. Willow Creek still ate girls alive. On the walk back through the open-air market, the smell of fresh sugar bayonets drifted from a food cart. Lily's eyes widened. Cassandra bought a paper sack. Steam fogged the evening air. "Careful, it's hot," she warned. Lily bit in anyway, cheeks puffed, eyes sparkling. Cassandra remembered bringing donuts home, a child, only to watch Aaron eat them first. Tonight she let Lily eat as many as she wanted. Near the last stall, an old man twisted colored wax into tiny figurines. Lily chose a small fairy with gossamer wings. "Because she looks like you, Mom, pretty and kind." The earnest pride in her daughter's voice pinched Cassandra's heart. The grey years of her own childhood felt suddenly, painfully vivid. They reached the porch just as Evelyn muttered, "Breakfast turns into supper with you off gallivanting." Cassandra ignored her and asked to see her father. "I'm not dead yet," Frank Moore growled from behind her. He hobbled in on a casted foot, muscles still broad beneath his undershirt. Lily bowed politely, but he merely grunted. "I brought herbal soup," Cassandra offered. "Keep your charity. You breeze in once a year and act like some saint." The words rolled off her. She'd heard worse her whole life. "Your leg needs rest," she said, and turned away. The narrow rooms seemed to shrink, the air thick as swamp mud. She wheeled Lily toward the stairs. "We're packing. We'll catch the midnight coach." Lauren hurried in, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "You're leaving already?" "I was making duck stew, your favorite." "Stay for dinner, at least." Lily's face lit up. Cassandra hesitated, then nodded. "All right, I'll help." While onions sizzled, Lauren whispered, "I'm sorry Evelyn got us up at 4. Some traditions never die. They die when someone strangles them," Cassandra said. "If it feels unfair, speak up." Lauren shook her head. "I quit high school at 19, married Aaron, and buried myself in this kitchen. Speaking up doesn't change much." Cassandra swallowed her answer. Everyone chooses her own battles. She slipped a folded 50 into Lauren's apron pocket. "For Cooper, buy him something sweet." Lauren tried to protest, but Cassandra closed her hand over it. "For the boy, not you, take it." The stew finished rich and fragrant. At the table Evelyn sniffed. "Aaron hates fermented bean sauce." "I'll make him something else later," Lauren murmured. Frank dug in anyway. The old man never turned down meat. Lily cleaned an entire bowl of broth and noodles, cheeks glowing. Cassandra savored the warmth, yet the flicker of the kitchen bulb kept snagging her eye bright, dim, bright like a pulse in the ceiling. After dinner Cassandra repacked in minutes. The house felt colder than the street outside, shadows pooling in doorways. From Aaron's room, the air conditioner rattled a tuneless lullaby. Frank barked, "Running back to your fancy life." Cassandra met his stare. "Your leg's fine, my work can't wait." He slammed a fist on the table. The light winked out for a heartbeat, then flared. In that instant Cassandra saw the pallid figure from last night standing beside her father's chair, faceless, elongated, one hand resting on Frank's shoulder like a brand. When the bulb brightened the thing was gone, but Frank's skin had turned a shade paler. Cassandra gripped Lily's hand. "Bus station, now." Evelyn said nothing as they left, only watched from the porch swing, eyes unreadable. The grapefruit trees rustled, though no breeze stirred their leaves. Hours later, Michael opened their apartment door, still in work boots. "I thought you were home tomorrow. Dad's stable," Cassandra said, forcing a smile. She hugged him hard, then ushered Lily toward bed. In the hallway mirror, she caught a glimpse of herself, pale, exhausted, and behind her, for the briefest second, the outline of that faceless shape, fingertips brushing the glass when she spun. The corridor was empty. Cassandra took a breath that tasted of cold dumplings and dirt, and told herself the journey was over. Deep down she knew it had only begun. Michael hugged Lily as soon as she burst through the apartment door, scooping the girl up until her shoes dangled. "Did you miss me, sunshine?" "I missed you so much I almost burst," she giggled. Nuzzling his neck, Cassandra watched the pair with quiet relief. Here, where the lights were warm and Michael scrubbed dinner plates without being asked, she finally felt what home was meant to be. They ate simple pan-seared mackerel with a pot of shrimp and okra soup. Afterward, Michael shooed Cassandra away, insisting he'd handle the dishes. Cassandra and Lily curled on the couch, dozing to an old cartoon until sleep stole the child mid-sentence. Michael carried her to bed, tucked her tight, and switched on the nightlight. Neither parent noticed Lily rise hours later, eyes glazed, moving through the hallway like a moth searching for flame. Morning brought shadows beneath Lily's lashes. "Rough night?" Cassandra asked. "I slept till you woke me," Lily insisted, but her pallor lingered. She begged not to miss school, so Cassandra drove her, then quietly asked the homeroom teacher to keep an eye on her. Late that afternoon the phone shrilled. The caller ID read, "Miss Carter, please come to Jackson Elementary right away," the teacher gasped. Lily hurt another student. An ambulance took him to County General. Cassandra's hands shook the steering wheel the whole way. In the teacher's lounge Miss Carter sat rigid beside Lily, whose head drooped, hair tangled, uniform speckled with someone else's blood. Everything spun, and then I was in this room. At County General they met Ethan's parents. Mr. Parker's face burned crimson. "Your girl did this," he barked. "I'm pressing charges, and I'll make the school expel her." Mrs. Parker pointed at her bandaged son and hissed, "An apology won't mend a broken bone." Lily sobbed, clutching Cassandra's coat. Michael stepped forward. "She's 11. We'll cover every bill." and we're taking her for evaluation tonight. Bills, Mr. Parker snarled. You think this is about money? The nurse glared, reminding them they stood outside an ICU. Cassandra led Michael and Lily away, stopping at the desk to pay Ethan's deposit. Even the clerk insisted insurance would cover most of it. Your kid swings, you pay. She thought simple math her own parents had never understood. A child psychiatrist spent an hour with Lily puzzles, drawings, memory cards. The report showed no delusion, no antisocial markers. Monitor her, the doctor said. If she blanks out again, record everything: time, place, triggers, and lock away anything sharper than a crayon. That night none of them felt like cooking. They stopped at a small Cajun diner for bowls of spicy beef noodle stew. Usually Lily devoured the dish. Tonight she poked at it, eyes shining with unched tears. Am I getting kicked out of school? No, Cassandra said, wiping her daughter's cheek. We'll fix this together. If the sky falls, we hold it up, remember? Michael tried to lighten the mood. Okay. Drama queens eat before it gets cold. Lily managed a weak grin and slurped a mouthful. A young man entered, calling his takeout order. Cassandra barely noticed until he paused by their table, staring at Lily with odd intensity. His pupils seemed to large, black swallowing iris. Lily shrank against Cassandra's arm. The cashier handed over the bag. The man smiled, revealing gums to pale, almost grey, then walked out without another glance. As the door swung shut, a gust of air swept the diner, rattling spoons cold, metallic, smelling faintly of grapefruit blossoms. Cassandra's spoon stilled, outside. The city lights fuzzed in steamy haze, but in the reflection of the window she saw that faceless silhouette again standing just behind Lily, fingertips resting on the child's shoulders, the way it had rested on Frank Moore's. Appetite was the last thing she felt. Dread was all there was room for. They're halfway through the beef noodle bowls when a lanky young man in a thrift store blazer stops beside their table, smiling much too pleasantly. Evening. May I have a word? Cassandra blinks. Do we know you? No, ma'am, but I can't sit by when I see trouble. Your family's carrying it like a shadow. He nods toward Lily. Especially her. Michael raises an eyebrow. We're fine. The stranger lowers his voice. Your daughter's body is already half claimed. A wandering soul has slipped in. Give it a few days, and she be nothing but a sleeve for the dead. The room seems to tilt. Lily whimpers and hides against Cassandra's arm. That's enough, Michael snaps, slamming a palm on the table. Scaremongering kids, get lost. Unfazed, the man pulls a business card from his pocket, slides it across the tabletop, and backs away. Harper Flynn, Spirit Remediation. When the whispers start, call me. He disappears into the night crowd. Michael huffs, crumples the card, and flings it toward the door. Cassandra hushes Lily, wiping tears. He was just a con man, baby. Lily nods, lifts her chopsticks, then flings them down, so hard broth splashes. Her eyes go flat, pupils huge. Don't want this, she growls. The voice is deep, raw, scraping like gravel. Cassandra's breath catches. Honey, you love noodle soup. I'm not Lily. The thing inside her snaps, then slumps forward, unconscious. For a full minute they listen to her soft snore, too shocked to move. Cassandra finally whispers, what if that man was telling the truth? Michael, pale now. It's after midnight when Flynn arrives with an older partner, Elias Vaughan, grey-bearded, carrying a canvas satchel that smells of sage and iron. Cassandra serves orange juice she never tastes. Flynn asks when Lily's behavior changed. They recount the fight at school, the strange voice in the diner. Flynn listens, eyes narrowing. Where were you right before this started? We just spent 2 days in Willow Creek, Cassandra says. Flynn taps the rim of his glass. Something out there tagged her. A binding charm, most likely sets a spiritual vacancy sign on the body. Whoever planted it knew what they were doing. Michael bristles. My wife's family may be distant, but they wouldn't harm a child. Intent doesn't matter now, Von rumbles. Find the source, break the charm, or that hitchhiker moves in for good. Cassandra sits frozen, hearing grapefruit blossoms rustle in memory, and wondering which root of her past still has the power to poison the present. Cassandra's skin prickled as Harper Flynn explained. The spirit can't cling for long. Lily's own life force keeps pushing it out. To finish the takeover, it needs a tether, a personal object seeded with a lock of the dead. Destroy the tether and the ritual collapses. But no one died while we were home, Cassandra said. Are you certain? Elias Vaughn asked. She hesitated. She hadn't seen Aaron or his son Cooper the entire visit. Evelyn claimed Aaron was at work and Cooper at tutoring on a Saturday. And Frank's hospital fall had turned out to be a lie. Cold dread slid down her spine. If someone in that house is dead, the family might trade Lily's body for the boy's soul, Flynn finished. We're driving back tonight, Michael said. They reached Willow Creek at dawn. Evelyn opened the door, face tense. Back so soon? Michael finally had a free day, Cassandra answered, masking her shake. Thought we'd visit Dad. Frank appeared walking easily on the leg that was supposedly fractured. Cassandra's pulse hammered, but before she could speak Lauren hurried in, eyes wide, hands wringing a dish towel. Aaron's at work, Evelyn snapped. Cooper's at lessons. On a weekend, Cassandra pressed. Evelyn's gaze flickered. Extra credit. Flynn and Vaughn were still an hour behind, so Cassandra decided to push. Where's the tether, Mother? Where did you hide the charm you made? What nonsense. Lily's body is hers, Cassandra said, voice rising. I won't let you barter my child's life for your precious son or grandson. Frank's face went sheet white. Evelyn's lips thinned. Cassandra knew then she was right. Pain burst at the base of her skull. She turned. Lauren stood there, stun prod in hand. Electricity cracked. Darkness swallowed her. When Cassandra came to, Vaughn was splashing cold water on her face. Michael lay groaning nearby, an angry welt across his jaw. Where's Lily? Cassandra croaked. Gone, Michael whispered. All of them your parents. Lauren. No one's here. Flynn searched Cooper's bedroom and emerged grim. Charm's missing too. They took it and your daughter. A bright voice floated from the porch. I can track them. A slight young woman leaned against the rail, wine toys jingling behind her. Flynn exhaled, Jardar Lane spirit liaison. She talks to the drifters most folks ignore. Jada's grin flashed. Your in-laws hauled a girl, an urn, and a canvas bag full of candles toward the old water tower chapel. The ghosts are gossiping already. Cassandra steadied herself against the wall. The house smelled of stale grapefruit blossoms and something coppery, blood or rust. She couldn't tell. Take me there, she ordered. Now. Flynn checked the salt cartridges in his revolver. Vaughn lifted a duffel of iron nails and sage bundles. Jardar hummed a nursery rhyme Lee used to sing. Outside, dawnlight bled between the trees, but an unnatural chill clung to the ground. Whatever waited at the water tower wanted a body, and Lily's small hands were already beginning to slip from Cassandra's grasp. Jardar led them through the cypress brake to a single-story house painted a garish, blistering red. The place breathed cold. Dawnlight stopped at the fence. The moment Cassandra, Michael, Harper, Vaughn, and Jardar stepped onto the weed-choked lawn, a squad of livid shapes lunged from the shadows. Gaunt soldiers in Confederate greys, cheeks hollow, eyes burning blue flame. Michael froze. Cassandra's nails cut his sleeve. Harper only sighed. All right, boys, parade rest. He flicked a fan of ink-black talisman strips. Each slapped to a phantom's forehead and flashed gold. The ghosts stiffened, toppled, and lay rigid as toppled mannequins. One nearest Harper managed a whisper. We were pressed into service. The conjurer bound us. Vaughn's expression softened. He drew a single crimson seal, murmured an incantation, and tossed it skyward. The seal burst in white fire. The brand on every ghostly brow winked out. The soldiers bowed grateful, already fading like breath on glass. A pane rattled inside the house. Move, Harper muttered. He kicked the door wide. Inside the red house, Evelyn, Frank, and Lauren stood around a crude altar made from a dining table. Cooper's small body lay motionless at its center. Beside him, Lily slumped, wrists bound with red thread, eyelids fluttering. At the table's head loomed an emaciated man in a preacher's collar-stained rust-brown Reverend Crowley, the mourner for hire who read eulogies at half the town's funerals. He clutched a brass lantern whose stub of black candle burned with sickly green flame. The air smelled of tallow and grave dirt. Cassandra lunged. "Lily, get away from my daughter." Lauren stroked Lily's hair, voice dreamy. "Just a minute more, Cassie. Cooper will breathe again. Then Lily can rest." Harper raised his palm. "Back away, all of you. Snatching a living vessel never ends well," Crowley sneered. "You're too late, Conjure Boy." He opened a lacquered box. A lock of blonde hair lay coiled inside Cooper's. A second, darker twist errands rested beside it. Crowley muttered guttural Latin. The lantern flame leapt. A black vortex swirled across the floor, solidifying into Aaron's spectre face grey, ice whirling pits of tar. "Kill them," Crowley rasped. "Nothing stops my bargain," Aaron's ghost shrieked and charged. Vaughn flicked a yellow talisman that ignited mid-air and clamped to the spirit's chest. Fire blossomed, Aaron howled, writhing as the flames burned through the oily aura, turning parts of him transparent. Harper finished this. Vaughn barked, sprinting for Crowley. Crowley fumbled another charm, voice shaking now. "Anime. String it." Harper vaulted the altar, salt cartridge revolver drawn. But Cooper's tiny body jerked, upright eyes still closed, mouth opening in a silent, ravenous gasp pulled by the lantern's light toward Lily's motionless chest. Cassandra screamed. Michael threw himself forward. Harper fired. The salt round shattered the lantern's glass. Green flame sputtered, then guttered out. Crowley roared. The house shook. Crimson paint curled and peeled like scorched skin. Aaron's spirit, half consumed by Vaughn's charm fire, staggered toward Lily again, intent set by the last command he'd heard. Vaughn hurled a second talisman. Harper reloaded. Cassandra gripped Lily's hand, whispering her name over and over. Outside, dawn finally cracked the tree line, pouring a blade of gold through the ruined doorway, thin, but maybe bright enough to send the darkness scattering. The battle for Lily's body and her soul had reached its breaking point. Aaron's name cracked across the room like a whip. The ghost, all fumes of tar and fury, tried to bolt for Crowley, but Harper snapped a fresh sigil, whispered to short syllables, and slapped the parchment against the spectre's chest. Red light flared. Aaron shrieked as the talisman folded in on itself, sucking spirit and smoke inside. Harper shook the scroll now, hot as a coal, then stuffed it into an oilskin pouch, while Aaron raged, muffled, from within. Crowley had no soldiers left, so he turned on the living instead. Evelyn and Lauren lurched forward at his barked command, clawing for Elias's arms and legs, pinning him from reaching the makeshift altar. Elias couldn't strike them, they were flesh, not phantoms, so he shouted for help. Michael barreled in, prying Evelyn loose. Cassandra wrestled Lauren by the shoulders, but the woman clung like ivy, lips chanting desperate pleas for Cooper. On the table, the black soul candle whooshed to full height. Crowley slammed his palms down in triumph. Lily's eyelids fluttered. She sat up, smiled at Lauren and spoke with Cooper's boyish voice. "Mama." Lauren's face lit with savage joy, tears streaking her cheeks. "My son, my baby." Cassandra's throat closed. Elias sagged, whispering. "We were too slow." Harper steadied him. "Not yet." Frank and Evelyn knelt before the body that looked like Lily, but carried their heir's soul. Frank stroked the girl's hair, asked, "Cooper, do you know Grandpa?" The borrowed mouth murmured thirst. "Cooper's alive, nothing else matters." "Alive in the wrong body," Cassandra cried. "He was a boy. You'd cage him in a girl's skin forever." "It's still flesh," Lauren hissed. "Better than a grave." But the flesh was already sagging. the ribs beneath the nightshirt dented inward as if soaked cardboard. Water poured across the altar. Lauren stared, horrified, as Lily's form collapsed into a sodden sheet of rice paper, printed with a perfect likeness of the girl's face. The real Lily stepped through the doorway beside Jada, laying wide-eyed, breathing, utterly unharmed. Jada's grin was pure mischief. Never trust a conjurer who can't tell paper from skin. Harper laughed once, harsh. Biggest credit goes to our spirit liaison here. While Crowley fixated on a decoy, we freed the real vessel. Crowley stumbled back, realizing the tethered soul had poured itself into nothing more than ink and starch. Cooper's spirit, now unanchored, billowed in a wisp above the melting effigy. Elias flicked an empty talisman. The wisp snapped inside, the parchment sealing yellow-white. Children, even lost ones, carried little malice. The scroll stayed pale. Jada wiped ink from her fingers. Tethers gone, charms broken. We're finished. Not quite, Harper muttered, glaring at Crowley. He'll try again if we let him keep his craft. Crowley spun to run, but Jada's silver chain snapped around his ankles. She tossed the end to Harper. Do it fast, I'm tired. Harper and Elias lifted twin staves. Silver dragon and white phoenix blazed into being, spiraled once, then flooded Crowley with blinding light. His scream tore through peeled paint and cracked rafters. When the glare died, the preacher lay unconscious, robes smoking. The sigils on his arms had burnt to soot. Harper winced, severing another man's art. Always singed your own, but tucked his smouldering staff away. Worth the loss, Lauren crumpled, clutching the damp scrap that had been Cooper. Sobs raked her chest. Please, save him. I'll give Lily back. I'll. Cassandra's voice was ice. My daughter is not a bargaining chip. Cooper is gone. Lauren, let him rest. Evelyn slapped Cassandra across the face. Heartless witch. Hand over that body, girls are replaceable. A grandson carries the line. Blood tasted metallic on Cassandra's tongue. She faced her parents. Common lethal. You taught me my worth every day of my childhood. I won't pass that poison to Lily. You'll never lay hands on her again. Behind her, Lily pressed close, tiny fingers knotting in her mother's coat. Michael wrapped them both in his arms. On the altar, Cooper's parchment husk finally sloughed into pulp. A faint child's laugh, half relief, half farewell, echoed once in the rafters, then faded. Elias slipped the sealed scroll into Cassandra's palm. When you're ready, set this on a running river. He'll find his way. Outside, dawn was a clean, gold blade. Cassandra led Lily toward it, leaving the red house to sag in its own shadows, while Harper bound the powerless preacher and Jada scattered purified salt through the rooms. No one looked back. Within days, Harper and Elias reclaimed the golden dragon staff and the white phoenix staff from their satchel, muttering about how every swing shaved a sliver from their own powers. Jada only laughed, wondering aloud who the next owners might be once the old guardians retired. Payments settled, the trio left Cassandra and Michael alone to untangle what remained of their family. Frank and Evelyn, hollow-eyed now that their scheme had collapsed, drifted through the wreck of the red house like sleepwalkers. Lauren slipped into a stunned silence that never seemed to lift. Cassandra took Lily back to Chicago that very night and cut contact. She focused first on the scoreboard. Ethan Parker's parents had insisted Lily be expelled, but when they received a carefully written apology, every word in Lily's trembling hand, they reconsidered. Ethan healed. Lily stayed enrolled under strict supervision, and the incident was filed away as an uncharacteristic outburst. No one could have believed the larger truth anyway. A year passed before Lauren's name lit Cassandra's phone. In long, remorseful paragraphs, Lauren laid out everything. Aaron's SUV had been broadsided the afternoon he picked Cooper up from school. Both father and son died instantly. Reverend Crowley had approached the family during the wake, claiming Cooper's allotted years were unfinished and could be restored if they found a compatible vessel. Lily's birth date, blood type, and zodiac sign matched Crowley's grisly criteria. Aaron, desperate to save his boy, agreed to become the Reverend's bound spirit. Evelyn fabricated Frank's hospital fall to lure Cassandra home. Lauren plucked a few strands of Lily's hair while pretending to soothe her. The rest followed like tumblers, clicking into place. Lauren begged forgiveness. Cassandra stared at the message until the screen dimmed, unsure what forgiveness even meant for a plot that had nearly erased her child's soul. She could pity Lauren's grief. She could never forget the cold hand that had gripped Lily's heart. Michael found her on the balcony that evening, phone still in her palm. She forced a smile and decided dinner would be stir-fried shrimp, something simple, bright, alive. Whatever they cooked, Michael said, tasted perfect to him. Downstairs Lily burst in, waving a crayon portrait, 3 stick figures, holding hands beneath a halo of yellow. Michael swung her up, promising to frame the drawing in the living room window, where morning light would shine through it. For Cassandra, the terror truly ended there, in ordinary laughter. Back in Willow Creek, Frank and Evelyn slid into vacant stairs, repeating Cooper's name to walls that no longer answered. Lauren, exhausted by their silence, packed her suitcases and moved back to her mother's bungalow across town. Her text to Cassandra mentioned the move and nothing more. Cassandra had sworn to sever every tie, but in the end she could not. She hired Ms. Lang, the neighbor, who had once left grapefruit at their door, to bring groceries and check temperatures twice a day. Once a month, when business allowed, Cassandra drove the 3 hours south, left medicine on the porch, and listened while her parents mistook her for Aaron. She never corrected them. 2 years later, Ms. Lang called at dawn. Frank and Evelyn had died in their sleep, faces oddly peaceful. Cassandra organized a modest funeral, set their ashes beside Aaron's and Cooper's under the ancient live oak, then sold the red house and donated every penny to a children's trauma ward. Each spring, on the weekend closest to Memorial Day, Cassandra, Michael, and Lily drive down with wildflowers gathered from the Lake Michigan dunes. They clear the headstones, lay the gold and violet blossoms in careful piles, and stand a moment in the hush of Spanish moss. When Lily asks why they honor people who hurt them, Cassandra kneels in the soft earth and answers the only way she can. Because death is the final refuge, and the living choose what tomorrow looks like. Let the past lie still. Let the future keep its colors. Some nights, passing the closed door of her daughter's room, Cassandra pauses. She hears Lily breathe, slow and steady, and feels the faintest stir of grapefruit perfume, memory or phantom. She cannot tell. Either way, she whispers thank you into the dark, then walks on, certain the house she walks through is, at last, a true home.